Between me and PSO2, what's more important to you?
Huh? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't notice how you felt earlier, but of course, Cammy. Just know that no matter what, you're definitely more important. Although, if I stay with you all the time like this, surely we won't be able to have our moments together. But that's exactly why that I'll continue to work so hard, so that I could be somebody that you could be proud of. But even so...
It's always efficient XP.
But even so, during the days that we couldn't meet, we can still grind our EXP efficiently. And I'll think of you while still making all my videos.
Even on Valentine's Day.
Even on Valentine's Day.
A quest event.
The seasonal Valentine's event. Cammy, look into my eyes. Don't get shied away. Of course, your beard's the most important thing. Okay, that's enough cringe. I'm so sorry. Anyways, good morning, Flirbs. My name is Azalira, and apparently we are today here with Cammy Cakes.
Hi, pleasure to be here.
Cammy Cakes is somebody that recently uploaded a very quite famous video, actually, when it comes to talking about the PSO2 beta and everything like that. And a lot of people's been saying like, yo, Azel, you should probably do an Eyes on PSO2 with Cammy. You know, he has some really, really good insight and everything like that. So that's exactly why we're here.
I'm excited to get started, so let's get going.
For sure. But first of all, Cammy, why don't you tell us a little bit more about exactly like your background and how you actually even got into PSO to begin with?
Okay, so way back in elementary school.
How long was that?
Yeah, elementary school. I know, this is ancient. Like, we'll call episode 1 and 2 prehistoric times, because that's where I started. And my neighbors initially had it. We would always, play video game systems. We'd bring one over to the other person's house, and we'd set up, like, System Link for Xbox, and we'd all play Halo, try to get, like, 16 people in the neighborhood involved and so forth. And at some point, they had a copy of Phantasy Star Online episode 1 and 2, and we'd play the offline mode together, and we realized that this game's pretty good. So
yeah,
everybody got it. Everybody, transferred characters from their memory card, brought it over so we could do 4-person split screen on the giant TVs. And
oh wow,
all of us in the neighborhood played at one point. So it was kind of an offline but still community experience. I thought that was really cool.
It's like one of those like big LAN events.
Yeah, exactly. It felt like a LAN almost every other day. And if you played offline on your own and got something sick, you would like, the next day at school, you'd be, oh, you guys aren't going to believe this. DB's saver. And they're like, what? I've only heard whispers. Like, but anyway, it was so intriguing that even later, I was trying to get online on like a modded Wii, that could download the ROM of, a Wii. Nintendo Wii, the motion controls. So yeah, you could use the ROM to go online on it.
I don't think there's an official title.
Yeah, it was definitely unofficial. But even back then, I was trying to, finagle it the same way people try to VPN over to the Japan PSO2 servers.
Yeah, that's definitely crazy. And even to think about it, PSO2, like, not PSO2, sorry, but Phantasy Star Online episode 1 and 2 is like the GameCube or like the Xbox from like 2002. So that's like 18 years ago.
Yeah, I remember it like it was yesterday.
That's pretty ancient if you ask me.
Yeah, it's definitely prehistoric, and that's what I'll refer to it for the rest of the podcast.
Sure. Very cool. Prehistoric times. Alright, understood. Anyways, though, to think about that something like 18 years ago is still a very strong impression to you today, that's like crazy.
And not just an impression of me, an impression on, I would say, the games industry. Because almost everything takes a little bit of spiritual influence from PSO, for sure.
For sure.
We'll probably get into that later, like more specifically, but
yeah,
I think it's worth mentioning early.
Definitely. It's very interesting for me to see personally because, like I've said before to some of you guys on the audience, that my first like gaming experience really is Phantasy Star Online 2 really, because I'm kind of like a late bloomer into video games where I never really got to play a lot of video games in my childhood because, being the nice Asian kid I am, I'm always like here like studying, playing the piano and like all those like stereotype things. So I never really got to play video games until I actually got a computer when I was somewhere in middle school.
So you didn't have a gateway game. It was just, it was all in.
Yeah. Phantasy Star Online 2 was basically my first entry into actual video gaming.
No, like, I don't know, Super Mario, it was just straight into an MMO. That's awesome.
Yeah, I never had any of that at all. Which is why I find it so intriguing to find like talk to like everyone and be like, hey man, how do you get into video games? And they're like, oh, I used to play in like this console, I used to play in this, I used to play in that. I never had consoles.
So I definitely had consoles. I think most of my childhood was Nintendo 64. And then eventually got a PS2 and just, moved up, got the Xbox, played a lot of Halo. I got into RuneScape very, very heavily. That one consumed me just about as much as PSO, though I think PSO takes the cake on ours.
Is Halo how you got into Destiny to begin with?
Yes, yeah. Like I said, with the same neighborhood, we'd all system link and play Halo. That was even before live was a normal thing, online play and that sort of thing. So, yeah, Halo was big. A lot of trash talk, fun banter between us.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone always improving. Good times, good custom games. And it was by developer Bungie. And so way, way later down the line, I see a game in the works called Destiny that's like an MMO looter shooter, first-person shooter, RPG style game. And I'm like, wait a second. Is that Halo, RuneScape, and Phantasy Star mixed together? That's my perfect game. Let's go see how this turns out. And it did take a lot of influence from those. I don't think it actually ended up probably being a little bit of a problem in Destiny's future, where it maybe tried to appeal to too many different kinds of audiences and they couldn't really nail down their own identity, at least my 2 cents. But yes, that was the pull to it, is it took elements from all my favorite genres and slapped it into one.
Yeah, that's actually very cool though. But then like, a lot of people who may be like your really hardcore audience, Cammy's like this super cool shooter guy, you're like super crazy accurate with like Destiny PvP, and they would imagine you to be like, into those like super sci-fi shooter stuff. But then when people say like, oh, Cammy and PSO2, those names are like not super synonymous with each other, in my opinion, at least.
Not yet.
How do you feel about that?
I'm okay with that. I'm very okay with that. Sometimes on a stream, I'll get a viewer in chat, they go, how can you farm this thing for 2 weeks straight? And I always go with, let me tell you about a story about RuneScape. And then when they're like, man, RuneScape's drop rates were pretty brutal. And then I go, let me tell you a story about Phantasy Star Online.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's built me to be really, really efficient in my MMOs.
Yeah, for sure. When you really think about like farming in MMOs, it's like, because sometimes the drop rates are, of course, really abysmal. So you always want to be like the most efficient with things. And I guess that really does like shine through.
Seriously. We're like, all right, this is a 7-second improvement over this run. So if I run this continuously for the next 3 weeks, that's going to save me, crunching the numbers on the TI-84, 4 hours. That's great.
Oh my God, yes. I know. And it's actually pretty funny that you mentioned the TI-84 because that's exactly what I used for my middle school math class as well.
Right? And so to a Destiny player, they're hearing this kind of thing. And a lot of them maybe join Destiny because they're just solely interested in a first-person shooter by Bungie, right? They don't know so much about the MMO world. And when they hear that kind of thing, they're like, what in the heck? Like, you actually are going to farm this for 2 weeks? I'm like, yeah, dude, check the frame data. This will make it so I can reload faster.
That's actually crazy. Now, there's actually one question that's burning on my mind for a very long time now. That like, you play Destiny, which is a game that's like super good graphics and like, all the like RTX on memes and everything like that. Like, how do you feel playing that? And then now that you actually got to play the PSO2 Beta, which came out on the Xbox like just a super short while ago, right? But then the graphics is like noticeably, quote unquote, worse than Destiny, so to say.
I don't play games for the graphics. You play for the gameplay. Like, there's a certain minimum that graphics have to hit, and PSO2 far exceeds that. In fact, if the developers ever wanted to toy around with like a first-person mode in PSO, I'd be so down even with that level of graphics.
Yeah, there's actually definitely something that's been done before. Some people actually tried to mod PSO2 into like VR and stuff. So I've seen first-person mods and stuff for PSO2 before.
I'm ready, man. I'll go grab the Oculus Rift. I'll try it.
How do you play with the Oculus Rift though? Isn't that like super nauseating?
It probably is. Gotta make sure my character doesn't have like too much plot or I can't see anything. But yeah, that makes sense.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Wait, can you have beards in this game? Because I might do that too, just in VR.
I have seen people with beards before.
Okay, excellent.
No, that's just absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, though that'd be great. As far as graphics go, though, I think there's a trade-off in games as far as what developers can choose. If you go on the lower end of graphics, adding new content's a little bit easier.
Right. Yeah.
Because you don't have to worry about all the fidelity. And so that, to me, is a good thing, not a bad thing for Phantasy Star Online 2. If the graphics are truly weaker, then that should give the devs a little bit more freedom to be more creative with it.
Yeah, especially in PSO2, right? It's been a game that's been already out in Japan for, 8 years? And then it's now only coming to the West. Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of people would not expect that to begin with, since, you'd probably lose hope already since it's been so long since the actual announcement of the West in 2013. But well, it's here.
Oh, I definitely gave up hope.
Like,
I definitely did.
It's here, and it's an 8-year-old game. So even though it's an 8-year-old game, though, they continuously update the game, like crazily update the game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If it's an older game and technology's improved, I would say the cost of development and just actual terms of cost and in cost of time is down enough where they could keep a continual stream of content if they really want to.
Like, for an example, to a lot of people who may say that, like, oh my god, PSO2 is like super dead and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the newest class that just got released, which is the 12th class, literally just got released 2 months ago on December 18 of 2019 specifically.
Wow.
Like an actual entire class.
That's what I'm saying though. Like a Destiny patch is so few and far between. Once a season if we're lucky.
Once a season. Mm-hmm.
And then just a new class? That's crazy.
A season in Destiny is estimated how long? For example, like 3 months maybe? 4 months?
I will give you that exact number in 5 seconds. Okay, maybe not. Google's not being nice to me. Let's estimate between 40 and 90 days.
So basically something around like close to 2 to 3 months, etc.
Yeah, 2 to 3 months sounds about right.
Mm-hmm. So that's around like the patches of Destiny. But for Phantasy Star Online 2, what happens is we always get fashion catalogs basically every 2 weeks, even though it's not like a content patch. But to
No,
me,
that's
that's
content
because
patch.
It's more fashion for me to work with, fashion and a plethora of accessories to just play around with. I will not get bored of that.
No, believe me, if there's more in the game cosmetically, it's content because you want to go for it, especially if they lock it behind content.
The way that PSO2's like cosmetics work is you can like buy cosmetics that you want to with real money, right? And then you can either sell them on the player shop or use them yourself. So it's kind of like this way how that the game actually does make money. And then right now PSO2 is actually Sega's, according to their financial report, Sega Japan, PSO2 is basically their biggest earner right now with like over 60% of the company's earnings, which is actually crazy to me.
That is crazy, but that also excites me because if NA can even tap into a fraction of that alone, we might start seeing some NA curated content if I just think from a pure business standpoint.
And especially now that Microsoft has their stake into this. Because let's go into the story a little bit of how PSO2 actually came into the West again in 2020. So initially the reason why the 2013 reveal for the West initially was canceled was because, number one, that was when Sega first tried to do everything themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So they gauged the Western market and said that at this rate, now that our game is still like not really like that developed, not that good and stuff like that, since that's just like the second year of PSO2 or well somewhere around like the second to third year,
right?
They're like, we don't think it's a very good financial decision to try to like open up the game to the West right now because we are not sure about the market, and then we think that it's not going to be worth financially because right like at that time it's not even doing that well in Japan to begin with either.
I see.
So that's exactly why they, according to my research at least, that they went radio silent. And then now, back in like 2019, 2018 or something like that, Phil Spencer, the vice president of Xbox, has been traveling to Japan, talking with like game companies, making contact, building relations and everything. And then they're like, hey, Sega, I'm a secret like fan of Phantasy Star. And then like this game never came to the West. So there's a big gaming culture in Japan that like a lot of people in the West never knows about, and we want to try to just like start diving to that market and bringing all this stuff to the West. So that's exactly how it went about.
Wow, sounds like I need to get me a Phil Spencer tattoo or something. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then that's exactly how we hear today, which is Phil Spencer basically saying, "Hey Sega, we want to get your game on our Xbox."
Yeah.
And then they basically just went out of their way, helped Sega provide everything they need to localize this game, and then now preparing to release it into the Western market once again.
I'm so excited, man. It's been 8 years, and if Microsoft is the one to make it happen, that's even better.
Definitely. But the thing is, like, because you were talking about how, you might get some really NA catered content and stuff like that. Like I said, since Microsoft now has a stake in all this, there's definitely possibilities, in my opinion, that you will get exactly the thing you wanted, Cammy.
Okay, I know what you're alluding to. If there's a collaboration between Microsoft and Halo and Phantasy Star, and we get the battle rifle in Phantasy Star, oh my gosh, rip my entire week. Like, there goes my sleep schedule. I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, it's the things that really means a lot to you personally on like an emotional level and also like a historical level, so to say, as well. I can imagine how much it means to you, honestly. I really can.
8 years. There was a certain point. I'll give you the timeline, man. 2012. All right, cool. Japan gets their fun on PSO2. I'm not going to look up any news because I don't want to spoil it when it comes to the US in a year, most likely. It didn't come to the US in a year. 2014. Maybe it just takes a while to do localization. I don't know anything about game development. 2015 hits. Okay, now I'm worried. 2016 hits. I'm learning Japanese.
Wait, you actually went that far?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'm actually just like really baffled here. That is some dedication right there.
Absolutely.
Wow.
I still am like an elementary schooler in terms, but I can navigate websites pretty well at this point with just the like minor alphabets.
That's very cool.
So I am not scared of playing PSO2 purely in Japanese anymore, but that definitely would not have happened in 2014 or 2015.
Yeah, and especially now that the actual like West is like the proper Western release is announced, and now that the beta actually did happen and you actually got to play the beta, I don't think your Japanese lessons are needed anymore.
Yeah, you say that. I'm still suffering from withdrawal over here. Scratching my wrist like, when's that open beta?
Yeah. It's kind of like this weird thing where it's like the post-beta depression, right, as people say.
Yeah, 100%.
I've never actually got to experience anything like that before, but like, why do you think it's actually like a good thing or a bad thing that games actually like, bring out betas like this and then people play it and then they don't get to play it anymore for a while?
I think that's okay. Because like, I want the game to launch with as little hiccups as they possibly can, and this is a necessary evil. The thing is, though, the game is 8 years old, so it's not like we're just getting a sample of content. No, we're getting an entire game's worth, maybe 2, maybe 3, 4 games worth in a beta. That's almost unheard of.
Yeah. And then for me personally, I actually got a chance to talk a bit to the PSO2 North American team, right? We've been DMing a little bit here and there. And then they said very strictly that they're trying their best to uphold their content that they gave at E3, that they're going to bring every single piece of content from the Japanese servers into the North American servers.
Depending on how this NA population grows and how it's fostered, and maybe the stat breakdowns of what NA seems to prefer as far as the swash of content available, right? I'm thinking it might make sense from the business standpoint to just say, hey, NA really likes the Summoner. Let's focus on a subclass for that pairs well with it.
Oh, thinking like far in the future.
Or NA really likes the PvP, surprisingly. Maybe we should start doing more of this.
Yeah, I mean, like, even if you mentioned about that too, right? PvP is not a entirely big thing in Japan because, our culture is like, we kind of just want to like collaborate with each other and just have fun, enjoy playing, collaborating, fighting big bosses rather than fighting each other. But that's not the case for North America.
I mean, North America wants to just help each other get better at PvP. No, they want to beat each other. And that's okay. I mean, if that's a market that sells or generates revenue, I could totally see more emphasis put on that in the future purely just because of NA.
Yeah, it's a bit of a like cultural difference, so to say, because it's actually funny because in PSO2 JP's like live events where you go to like events and stuff like that, they actually do PvP tournaments, like LAN PvP tournaments in PSO2 events.
That sounds really fun.
I've been to those events and it's actually pretty fun, not gonna lie. Getting to play it on like actual LAN connection is like, yo, when everything's no lag, it's actually really fair and fun. But sometimes like when you play PvP on like lag, you know, it's like, oh, how did I die? That is so...
Oh, it's the worst.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of things that really turns off people from PSO2 PvP to begin with, because they're like, oh my god, servers, you know, like especially like people who play on PSO2 JP right now, they're like, you know, whether we're at like the Europe countries or like the American countries, it's like, yo, that's like super laggy. So they never got to experience PvP fully.
No, it is. So you're never going to be able to do that, which is why I didn't get into PSO2 Japan servers in the first place, because I knew I'd have to finagle it with a VPN. I knew I'd have to get an English patch. And ultimately, if it never came to NA, it's a really hard sell for my close friends, for my channel viewers and so forth, to push them to that game if it's not releasing an NA. So this is a dream come true to be able to play it in my home country.
And it also, well, have basically the best connection possible.
Yeah, the pinnacle. Absolutely.
Although that being said, PSO2, when it comes to like the PvE systems, right, you actually would not notice lag per se, because the game actually runs on a string system where everything that's visual based that happens to you on your screen will happen to you on your screen. For example, if you dodge a giant enemy's attack, you will dodge a giant enemy's attack and you won't have like this lag hit and stuff like that. And no matter what you hit, it will register, just maybe like half a second late or something like that. But everything that's like server wise is like transferred through these strings. So no matter what, your personal gameplay will not have like lag when it comes to PvE.
That makes so much sense.
So a lot of people who's, you know, scared of playing this game from Europe because PSO2 NA is like, oh, it's a North American release and stuff like that, right? So if you're scared of that at all, please don't be. And especially that the devs said that there's going to be no region locking for PSO2 North America, you're absolutely free to try that.
That sounds exciting.
And I don't think the ping from Europe to America is going to be that bad either.
No, it's not going to be as bad as, you know, America all the way to Asia, but...
Because I know for sure that like some of my European friends have like almost 300 ping to Japan. But then they still play the PvE content, just completely fine.
Yeah, I believe it.
So it's going to be something to definitely look about, because especially now that PSO2 North America is super close to release, and now we have an open beta confirmed as well. I'm sure you have a lot of plans for the open beta as well.
Wait. Did they confirm the open beta? Like the dates?
The dates are not confirmed, but it is confirmed that there will be an open beta.
Oh, okay. That's not as important. If they gave me the dates, like I'm already planning. I mean, I am already planning.
Yeah, for sure.
For it to be sooner than later. Because like if they said, for instance, tomorrow is the open beta.
Well...
Oh my goodness, there goes all my time. There goes all my videos.
Yeah, rip sleep schedule.
Yeah, everything.
Everything. No, but regardless though, like having just say that, hey, we're going to have a open beta, you know, is already really exciting for a lot of people who's already played the closed beta to begin with. Because it's like, you know, like I said, the closed beta depression, the post beta depression rather.
Yes. And what I'm excited about is that recent video I posted got a lot of comments that were saying, oh, I played this back in the Dreamcast. I'm so excited to try it out. Then I saw a couple that read the comments that said, I need to get into this. When's the open beta?
Yeah.
And that's who I'm excited for, is people who get to see it for the first time, completely in the dark about what Phantasy Star is. I think it's going to be a good surprise.
Just
for them.
like you.
I think they might find out it's their new favorite game.
Literally just like you.
Yeah, well, I kept myself in the dark. I knew it existed,
yeah,
but I was like, we're not learning about this.
Same difference, honestly.
As much as I wanted to. The way I describe it, it's like talking to a person who perfectly understands like syntax and grammar, but knows really no vocabulary. Because it's not like I'm new to games or new to Phantasy Star. I'm just new to Phantasy Star Online 2.
Right, yeah.
And 8-year-old game or not, it's still a new game for me.
It's like what you asked as well. The question here is, what exactly defines a new game, right? Because a lot of people always bring up this point that like, oh my god, PSO2 is like really old and like you shouldn't probably play it at all because like they're gonna make a PSO3 soon, or like they're just milking the North American market or something like that. Like, how do you feel about that?
Okay, well, even if they want to make a PSO3, I want NA to show up so we get our foot in the door for that to be a possibility.
Yeah.
You know? So even if you want to wait on PSO3 and don't get invested in PSO2, no, don't do that. Play PSO2 so that the devs have some data to go, this is something we need to invest in and not repeat history here.
Yeah. That's a really good point.
Not to say that there is ever going to be a PSO3. In fact, I don't even think it's necessary, really. I'm perfectly okay with this level of graphics and
initially, PSO2 was planned for a 10-year venture since 2012. So initially, it was actually planned to finish their like service and everything since at 2022. However, recently, due to the game's popularity and success and everything like that, they said that they're going to try to extend the plan by 5 years. So I guess we're expecting a 2027 end for PSO2.
It's also a fresh server in the North America side. So you're not behind if you're the kind of person who needs to be at the top echelon of the MMO field or whatever.
Exactly. The only difference that will be, the difference maker between like a veteran and a beginner for PSO2 North America is people who have the game knowledge, because I know some people who's played on the Japanese server might actually just move over because I want to start fresh, or like I want to try a new server,
or I want
good
connection
or connection. Yeah. But that's the only difference.
I mean, even if they have experience, consider that a boon. Consider this like you just stepped out of a time machine and you get to ask everyone questions. What's this? An iPhone? What does it have to do with your eyes? And they're like, no, it's from Apple.
Yeah. It's like, oh wait, Apple? Apple? What's an apple? No, jokes aside though.
Exactly.
Though, like,
that's how I feel.
Everyone in the North American server has like this plethora of people with experience, Even like me, myself, I've been playing on the Japanese servers for over like 20k hours, which equates to like, 800 something days of gameplay. And then I basically know the nuances and the history of the game literally throughout. Like, I can tell you exactly.
I love that I can ask somebody like you just any question that comes to mind. Things that I had to do the grunt work on for something like Destiny 2, and I know how painstaking it is to find this stuff out on your own, especially without developer tools. And I can just ask somebody who knows what they're doing, hey, what's the frame advantage on this ability versus this ability? Is there any cancels to that? What's the best DPS method, etc.? I can just ask. I don't have to try it.
Gotta get that efficiency. And it's really cool because exactly like you said, because it's already existing, because people already tried everything, there's the Japanese people that made, the PSO2 DPS calculator, or like the people who already did all the frame data, or people who already did all those calculations, like what's the most efficient combo on this thing, that thing, or everything like that. And you don't have to come in and experiment.
Yeah, you get to skip the Stone Age here and go right to the Golden Age of Phantasy Star 2. Think of it that way. Really, guys.
Now, my question to you is, because it's already all established like this, wouldn't you find that to be like, oh, I guess I have nothing to do because it's already done?
No, I have more to do. I have more tools at my disposal to be creative with.
That's a pretty good perspective.
More information.
Definitely.
If anything, like starting off fresh and thinking of something like surface level isn't that gratifying, but taking an 8-year established game and finding something new or setting a new standard or using old information to discover something new is so much more meaningful. We'll find out though. We'll find out. I'm low-key thinking it's going to be a Ranger meta soon.
Because the Cammy super aiming methods. Super professional aiming.
No, maybe not, but we will see. We will see. I just have an affinity for that class because that's what I played in that's what I ended on in PSO episode 1 and 2. I started off Cast Ranger, went to Force because, if you're just going to play this a lot, you always go to Force.
Yeah.
And then I missed Ranger, so I created a little hybrid of the two.
Wait, is this like another case of me talking to another person being a Force main again? Because so far, the past, many people I've talked to in this podcast is like, yo, man, I'm a Force main. And I'm like, I'm a Force main too.
Yeah, it's something that happens. Once you cross into that 10,000th hour or whatever, it's just you're a Force now.
It's one of the most complicated classes in the game because you have so much to manage and you really just have to understand like the depths of the game, because you're also not just one of the squishiest classes, but the classes that like relied the most on the PP resource.
It's the most delayed gratification class out there, and you can only appreciate that if you put the hours in for the rest of the game.
For sure. It's the same with not even just PSO2, but just about every MMO game ever, where Force is always like the very slow starter, and then it becomes like a monster late game.
I've taken that approach in almost every game I play. Like, I join RuneScape, and I think, all right, what sucks right now but has potential later? That's what I'm playing.
Yeah, because it's this talk about the skill floor and the skill ceiling, but that's exactly also what I think PSO2 does super well, where a lot of classes does have a pretty low skill floor to begin with, so it's actually really beginner friendly, and anyone who wants to pick up the game, whether you're like a super MMO veteran or anyone who never actually even played MMO games or games of this genre before, can just pick up and be like, yo, I'm doing super well, because the skill ceiling is like, no, sorry, the skill floor is actually really low, and it's really entry level.
Yeah, I mentioned that in the video. The difficulty is actually crazily scaled good. I don't think I've played a game that does it better, to be honest. One where a casual feels comfortable, but an expert feels like the world's their oyster.
Oyster? Why oyster, though?
I don't know that expression.
Really? Okay.
Or the origins of that expression.
Okay. I can live with that. No, but like, because you said that, like, you know, you said earlier about how Destiny tries to like appease a lot of audiences and stuff like that, and it can turn into a weakness. Do you think that PSO2 has that weakness because it tries to appeal to so many audiences? At least in your experience.
Does it, though? I mean, maybe it tries to appeal to the different levels of intensity between the players, but I don't think it really takes any compromises.
Because they're...
PSO was the trend setter, not the trend follower, you know?
Definitely. And then people just take like the good things from the game and just like refine it to be better and whatnot.
Yep. It's like strictly an action RPG MMO, right? So it does that very, very well. Whereas in Destiny, for example, in the PvP side, you sometimes get taken away from a first-person shooter because the abilities are maybe too prevalent.
Ah, I see.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
To where somebody who joins for the action RPG MMO side and they want to be, you know, a flame-spitting warlock, a wizard type thing.
Yeah.
But there's another person who joins trying to be Master Chief from Halo. How do you appease both of those? Like, what's the perfect mix between the two? Because one is so much more skillful than the other.
Definitely.
So it's a really hard thing to balance.
I think that's a good thing about just having, you know, the options of literally 12 classes, because, and it's not just the classes either in PSO2, it's the fact that each class also has multiple weapons. Like, for example, when you play the Hunter class, right, you don't only have like the giant greatsword, you also have like this partisan, which is like a more burst damage, long range weapon, and you can block like the Hunter. Like the general like Hunter gameplay, having all the parry frames, all the everything, and just being really safe and defensive, but you still do a lot of like burst damage, but you're not quite like great sword level, you know? And then there's also like wired lances for people who don't like to be exactly too close, but like not too far either. So it's like kind of like a mix between both. And then there's of course the great sword, which is like the more slow hitting and the more like, yo, I'm gonna get into your face and then bash this giant sword in your face.
Even back then in episode 1 and 2, I stayed away from the melee. I only threw melee on when I had like a certain weapon that restored TP or PP, I guess, technique power reserve. It's just
right.
It's the currency used to cast magical spells and abilities and stuff. And so anytime I was low on that, just sword comes out, use the special attack, and it refills the meter.
Ah. Yeah, no, I understand that, because you can do basically kind of like the same thing in PSO2 as well, where you make like this gunblade or gunslash that has like a lot of PP restoration augments, and then you basically, oh, I run out of PP, no problem, switch to this gunslash, shoot a few things, and your PP bar is like full again.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So my strat was, you know, use about half my bar, and then the second half is used to freeze something, and as soon as it's frozen, double saber comes out, and I'm get all my technique power back. Because they're frozen and they can't attack, you know?
Yeah, you can definitely do a lot of like weird strategies in PSO2. I feel like right now, how the end game works, right, is that they're doing a lot of things with certain things called like S abilities, where you can like put certain abilities on your weapon. For example, hey, this weapon might have like a lot of PP consumption, so let's slap like PP reduction on it. Or like, yo, this weapon type, I'm really squishy, I don't have like survivability, let's slap some lifesteal on it. Or like, yo, I need 100% crit rate, let's slap some crit on it.
And that is why I'm so excited to get into this game and sink my teeth into it, because everyone has the information on that stuff. Now I just have to figure out what's the coolest combination to use all that information for.
Yeah. Although not every combination is like super optimal though, but it's definitely workable.
Yet.
You
never know, man. You never know. They might make a new class that completely flips everything around.
Yeah, for sure.
And just a new casual player comes, not even thinking of previous information, discover something busted. Always happens.
Yeah, always happens. Which is why I think is one of the reasons that you really wanted to stay in the dark, so you can really just come in here with fresh eyes and just like, oh, I'm not, blindsided by, hey, this is correct, that is correct. You're like,
exactly.
You have no bounds. You right now have absolutely no rules. Like I could be feeding you information, but you're just processing it, and you're just sitting here thinking, this might work, that might work, and you just try it out later.
Yeah, sleep has been so tough lately because it keeps cycling through me, man. All the thoughts like, what is this gonna do? What is it gonna combine with? What's this? I gotta ask Hazel another question. Like, I don't want to annoy him.
No, it's okay. Please feel free to. I'll be happy to.
Okay, I'll ask one right now.
Oh God.
Let's go. So when you shoot in the air, you float?
Yes.
Is there any class that does not float when shooting, or an ability that cancels that out?
Shooting wise, I believe all the ranged classes, like the TMG, the rifle, and everything, will float you in the air.
Okay.
However, there are certain abilities that will definitely drop you, especially like the channeled abilities will 100% drop you. Well, except for like an attraction, which is like the charging one.
Right,
you will definitely stay in the air for that one, but there are some that will definitely drop you.
Because I see like a lot of potential in being able to not be stuck in the sky, but also getting your damage out. Of course, at the cost of maybe a little bit more aim, but that's the point.
Yeah, worst comes to worst, you can just
a little bit more mobile.
Worst comes to worst, you can always just roll. You just dodge roll out of it.
Right. I'm just thinking what's going to be the most fun in, 5,000 hours from now. And knowing that something like that exists means I always need to keep that in the back of my head as a possibility.
Yeah.
So that's why I ask these random questions.
So asking about random questions now, let's go into a little bit about the PSO2 beta. The first thing I really want to ask you is, of course, nobody expected PSO2 to, be released. There's a big gap between Phantasy Star Universe and PSO2. Like, there was like a 6-year gap.
Oh, I played that one too.
Yeah, it was a 6-year gap. And I don't think a lot of people really expected PSO2 to actually be a thing, because Sega also, of course, went radio silent on that, right?
I gave up hope, man. I'm over here flipping through Japanese textbook like one day.
But yeah, like, before the beta, before the PSO2 North American beta happened, what did you expect coming into the beta? Like, how do you expect the beta to play out? And like, how do you feel like PSO2 should like appease to you? Like, I played PSO1 before. I expected it to be like super similar. I expected it to be an upgrade from like PSU or something like that. How do you feel about that?
It exceeded every expectation I set from just episode 1 and 2 standards. Like, absolutely shattered my expectations. But then again, it's an 8-year-old game. I don't know what it was at launch. I felt like the combat was more intuitive, more engaging. I liked using mouse and keyboard instead of a GameCube controller.
For sure.
Or, God forbid, that keyboard controller. Have you seen that? It's like cut a GameCube controller in half and slap a keyboard in the middle. There you go. You're ready to play online.
Oh. And then you can also like shitpost on the internet as well, be like, yo man, I gotta type on my keyboard, I have the advantage.
You could play Smash right before you charge up that down smash, type in get good kid, and
that's actually
no, I don't
really
think
funny.
it works with that compatibility, but if it did, that would be a big seller for Smash.
That's actually funny.
But no, overall, man, it exceeded the expectations, and I stayed dark about it. All I wanted was that same episode 1 and 2 feel of sort of dungeon crawling, finding loot, optimizing your character, maybe playing into that, strategy, power fantasy that you wanted your character to appeal to, and just enhancing upon that. That's the best part about Phantasy Star, is You start off with something that you already want to do, and then you just make it better forever.
Yeah, especially in the end game of PSO2. This is how I say it, is that Phantasy Star Online 2's end game, assuming everyone has the same exact piece of gear, right? Say with like no augmentations or anything like that. So the game is literally 80% skill, where your skill matters, if not the most, when it comes to DPS and everything. And then the other 20% is literally just like absolutely min-maxing your gear.
That's always good to hear, because you don't want the end game to just totally be gear. I'm glad it's more skill based.
For sure. Because like if it's really gear, you know, anyone who's not good at the game and everything can just like sit there and just like two-shot something, and that's not fun.
It kills replayability for me personally if it's just a gear centric game.
Yeah.
I like when gear augments possibilities but doesn't play the game for me. Like, that's the best way I can put it.
Yeah, for sure. And then in PSO2, you can also really like play it really hard yourself too. Because for example, you know, when there's like these urgent quests or emergency quests, as we call them in the Japanese server, like these are 12-man raid bosses. But then if you really wanted to, you can just go into it with like your squad of like 2 or 4 people and then just play on the 12-man difficulty on your low man. You don't have to play on 12-man if you don't want to.
Now, I have to ask, is there a reward incentive for that?
Actually, no. No at all. You actually don't at all.
Okay, that's the same case as Destiny 2, and it hurts my soul.
Although, in one perspective, I think it's completely fair in that they don't want to, like, you know, incentivize people to really, like, go too hardcore if they don't want to, so that, like, there's no big, like, separation.
That's true. That's definitely true. Unfair of me to say, but definitely true.
Yeah, I don't think they want to have, like, too big of a separation between the casual and, like, the more hardcore audiences. Because even right now in the Japanese servers, there's this thing called the expert matching, where only around 30% of the population has expert matching, which is you have to do like a certain requirement and have like a certain amount of gear and stuff like that. So like
it's like a certification to prove you're decent enough to get queued. That makes sense.
So it's like a different queue when you're queuing up for random pugs or public groups, is that, oh, you have like this expert group and you have like the non-expert group. So there was a bit of a problem, you know, where people are like, dude, we don't want to like be separated and stuff like that. But then Sega kind of just like put it in. So there's like just this small fine line between, you know, people who want to go a little more serious into the game and people who are just playing super casually. And I think that's completely fair.
Yeah, definitely. But I'll definitely be doing some low mans in the future just because it sounds fun.
Oh, for sure. We do those all the time because after doing like 12 mans and everything all the time, we know there's like super optimal strategies. We kill bosses that like public groups kill in like 15 or 20 minutes in like what, 2-3 minutes? Because we're super optimal with strategies.
Yeah, I've done that same song and dance in Destiny 2, man. It's pretty much get in there where almost every single raid has been soloed.
For sure. But yeah, let's talk a little bit more about the PSO2 beta. Like, so you said that it exceeded all your expectations and everything like that, but like, is there anything you're particularly looking forward to the most? Or like, how did the beta just overall really just treat you and your friends? Because I know you've been playing the beta for like, what, 24 hours? Like, how do you feel about it after that?
Yeah, I did 24 hours there. I went in on the beta. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. This is a vacation that I set out for myself years ago. You know, I set aside time. If Phantasy Star 2 ever comes to the States, I'm, you know, taking off a month from whatever I'm doing and focusing just on that. So it happened. I was ready. The thing that really stuck out to me, though, about the beta, and I didn't mention this too much on stream because I was sort of caught up in the moment, but it was just seeing some of the old guard, the old community, just saying thank you out in the public lobbies and whatnot. They just seem really grateful to just be able to log on in a social space, let alone play the game. So it was just like, it was Thanksgiving, really. That's what it felt like. We're at the Thanksgiving table.
For sure. This it's not even just the old guard either. It honestly isn't just the old guard either, because even me as a Phantasy Star Online 2 player, and I don't even have like OG Phantasy Star, you know, history, but I'm still thankful to everyone coming in, which is why I'm doing these Eyes on PSO2 podcasts, is that I really just wanted to show the existing Phantasy Star Online 2 community that there's a lot of people here that are like so excited, so passionate, so thankful that the game is existing in the West right now, and they're just so really willingly jumping in because they really just love the franchise so much, and how all these games are such a big part of their history. And it's like you being denied something for what is literally tens of years. The anticipation, the looking forwards to it, the actual like feeling of wanting to play it again, wanting to relive these good feelings that you had, it's irreplaceable. I don't know how to explain it. Like,
from the community building aspect, I'm so excited to start doing more community-based things, getting to know everybody, what brought them to the game, start making content around that and so forth. Like, we can both, from Japan to the other side of the world, appreciate the differences in culture and whatnot, but even if NA becomes starkly different from the Japanese servers, I still want it to be a good kind of different.
yeah. No, and I think it's completely fair too, because, you know, like you said, the cultural differences and everything. And I think that's to be expected, right? Because us in the Asian regions, we operate things pretty differently from your mindset of like how you operate things in North America. Like our focus, our shift, our like trends and everything might just be completely different.
Yeah, I'm imagining right now, urgent quest or emergency quest starts up, everyone lines up orderly and walks to the front desk.
That's pretty funny to think about.
Meanwhile, in North America, let me in. We need to stop Dark Fells.
That's pretty funny.
But no, man, it needs to be good, and I'm doing whatever I need to make that happen. I'll try to set the best example I can for my little community here.
Yeah, best example. Hey everyone, join the Encore team. We need team points.
Yeah, the first video I'm doing, Loki, is how to help the clan tree. Can you explain what the clan tree is for the viewers?
No, but before we explain what the clan tree is, we have a word from our sponsors.
Oh no.
It's all you guys watching this video. Because without all you guys in the community, this would not happen.
True that.
No. Jokes aside though, in Phantasy Star Online 2, the alliances, or the team, as we would call it in Japan, the alliances in the North American server is basically the fact that like, hey, it's a guild, and then we can have 100 members in our guild. And then every single team or alliance has this one thing called the team tree or the alliance tree. And then the tree does give you benefits. For example, a maxed out team tree can actually give you up to like 20% attack, 20% defense, EXP, rare drop boost, Meseta, and stuff like that. It's kind of like a buff where every team member can benefit from it, you know, and then especially for people like Cammy, you know, those min-maxing,
Oh yeah, absolutely, man.
That 20% is going to be a big difference.
I'm telling you, the first video I'm going to make is, it's going to be titled, you know, big clickbait or whatever, the most important thing you can do in Phantasy Star 2. A video starts, join my clan. Here's what you do. You grab a task from the task counter, go complete it, do your 4,500 towards the weekly contribution, get a thumbs up, and I'll play with you in the future. Absolutely, it's going to happen because I'll be on this game like 18 hours a day. We will surely find time.
Yeah, but like you get all these benefits, and it's not just you though, because it's actually important to an extent, because like I said, anyone in the team can have access to it, right? So like if they need an attack boost, they just grab the attack boost. If they need EXP boost, they grab the EXP boost.
I'm super excited. It is beneficial.
It's beneficial. And then like if you can also flex, be like, yeah man, we're like the first team in North America that has like a completely maxed out team tree, you know, you can join us, you know.
Yep, exactly. If I can get a lot of dedicated people, I think we could fill it with like 50 and still try to max it pretty quickly so that the next 50 we look can be enticed by the tree.
Because the thing is, like, the team points, right, is actually capped per week. Mm-hmm. So I guess you can compare that to like Destiny, like, yo, we have like this thing we have to do, but then it's like point cap per week.
They actually do have that in Destiny 2, and it gives you a couple free legendary weapons a week or armor.
Yeah.
So it's worth doing. I don't have access to it on my free-to-play account, but
it's okay. It's okay.
It's definitely noticeable on the main account.
But yeah, so speaking of Phantasy Star Online 2 like that now, you're just coming in and you're just only scratching the very, very like surface of the game and stuff like that. My question to you, Cammy, is as someone who's super hard into like, you know, min-maxing or like just trying to set records or like do crazy amounts of like challenges to yourself and just really like optimize your gameplay, be the super efficient, you know, the super Cammy Kex meme of like being super efficient in everything. Like, what is your biggest like inquiry or concern coming into PSO2? Like, what are you looking forward to the most, or like what are you questioning the most about PSO2, whether it be like just the general game or like the late game or the game systems?
I've seen enough to not worry about that. I know sort of exactly the direction I'm gonna go with my content.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of, let's call it shitpost potential. Like, I'm gonna do maybe like the in a nutshell video, right? Like Ranger in a nutshell, and then just a montage of overhyped team banter from me and my team as the Ranger carries a little bit. And I'll do one for the Force. We'll do one where all of us make summoners. And then over the week, just get the highlight clips.
Yeah, that's funny.
And once that content dries up a little bit, we move to the fashion game.
Yeah.
It's like, so we convinced our clan to go dress up in tracksuits for the entire week.
Yo, and everyone has to get the lobby action that makes you all do the squats as well.
The Slav squat, yeah, exactly.
Everyone in tracksuits and squatting. No, and then you like invade lobbies, and then you see like this massive like team encore, and just like sitting in the lobby, everyone just in tracksuits and squatting.
I want to create the kind of clan environment where everybody just wants to be around it because it looks so fun.
Yeah.
Because we're just genuinely having fun with the game, not worrying if we're the best in the world, but being the best to each other.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's a really humble goal, because that's exactly what my vision of a team is. A place where people can really just come together, share their differences, and just chill, hang out, and enjoy themselves and have fun. And I think that really is something that reflects the heart and soul of what Phantasy Star as a whole is.
I would definitely agree with that.
It's a social experience that you can just come in and just like no stress, chill with people, have fun, meet people, and just, yeah, that's basically it.
But then when you want to flex those sick DPS numbers, you can do that too.
For sure. Yo, gotta get to the training room and be like, yo, who can do the most DPS to this rock there in 20 seconds? Let's have a competition. If you can't do 10 million...
Actually, that would be a really fun competition. Just be casting it on stream.
Yeah.
We're all spectating a room or something.
Yeah. Be like, yo, man, you suck. You can't even do 10 million damage. That would be absolutely really funny to see.
Make a inter-clan prize or something too.
Yeah, be like, yo, man, if you win this, I'm going to give you like a Santa hat.
Exactly. We pull together some prizes.
That's actually, that sounds super great. I'm sure a lot of people would probably appreciate that. And you can do like a viewers thing too. Be like, yo, man, viewers, you want prize from me? Come join our stream and just like do DPS to this rock bear and see how much you can do. And like, if you meet this threshold, I'm going to give you a prize.
I want to do holiday videos too with the North American take. Like, eventually, that's where I want to sort of establish my content. I want anybody from the Japanese server that's like, I wonder what's going on in NA. Let's boot up your Cammy's video.
Yeah. And it's like these regional differences, you know, we just see how like the community interacts with each other in North America, and then compare it to like this more silent Japanese community and whatnot.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot more lively in North America for sure.
I think so too. The party's never really going to stop. We waited 8 years for this.
And it's going to be another 8 years to come. How much you want to bet for that?
Oh, easy. I'm not putting any hopes into Phantasy Star Online 3. Like, seriously, if it releases, and I just play it.
Yeah.
And this time in Japanese.
No, but then you also still already now have the experience of Phantasy Star Online 2, so you're pretty much prepared for 3.
I'll be caught up. Shows up in the tracksuit.
Oh, man.
A foreigner. Gaijin.
Huh. この人は外人ですか?
Exactly. 出身はどこですか? And they're like, Central Florida. And they're like, oh, that's why your ping's so bad.
Yeah, that's really funny. But here, like, now that we talked about everything, I really have to say this. I know I tweeted about this. I know I've said this a few times, but honestly, the first time I saw you in like your stream, right, Cammy, is like, I have never, ever once in my life of 7 years seen anyone play Ranger like you before. I've never seen anyone literally go into like Z aim mode or free aim mode with the mouse keyboard and literally just snapshot or like flick hitting or anything to literally just go for headshots like that before. It's mind-boggling to me, and it's probably like the most entertaining I've ever seen anyone play Ranger in this game.
Okay, whether or not it's entertaining, when I play these kind of games, these games I know I'm going to sink tens of thousands of hours into, I don't play as if I need to be doing the best I can on day one. I play what's the practice I need so that by the 10,000th hour, I am playing at like the absolute pinnacle of my ability. And so that's necessary evil for practice. If I free aim and can do it faster than the auto-targeting system or more accurate than the auto-targeting system, then I need to work on that yesterday so that tomorrow I'm ready for it.
Yeah, and then it's a lot of potential that I see too, because for example, some of the hardest content, right? People kind of just like they focus a lot on dodging, so they kind of just do the lock on and play the normal game, right? Play the normal game, just do iframes, dodge things here and there. Okay. But then as a Ranger class, since you have this headshot bonus, if you're locked on, you're not doing the headshot.
Yeah.
So it's like there's this small like window that if you can really optimize yourself to be able to dodge everything and do everything like the person who plays with the lock on, right? But then you do it with all headshots.
Yeah, that sounds ridiculous. My like fantasy here is, I'm the Ranger in the back of the map, healing my teammates when they need it, but when they need me to go into the front lines, I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be trying to just free aim, snap targets, hit the dodge, try to chain some movement mechanics together, still wall hitting shots if possible, and just really, really try to do that for my team. And if I have to switch off Ranger Techer, I'll do it to get that playstyle some other way.
I think that's just such a really like interesting perspective that I don't think we'll really have, especially for anyone who's played this game for a really long time, because nobody would ever think of playing the game like a first person or third person shooter at all.
We're gonna see though. I've already tainted at least my little pocket of the North American audience, so I'm waiting for Sega to look at the fact sheet, the data, and just be like, why does everybody play Ranger in North America? Or why does everybody only use Z-aim?
The most recent players interview or players survey that they did in the Japanese survey, it's like Rangers played 6% of the player base.
There we go.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see the statistics for North America when they actually do release that, because I really want to compare these differences to the Japanese server to see which classes are the most played in North America.
I'm so curious, man. Seriously, I really am. And especially Phil Spencer, if you're listening to this, the battle rifle that will drive the numbers up.
Yeah, but I'm willing to bet that a lot of people are probably going to play the Braver class because it's a katana class, right? There's going to be tons of people playing the Gunner class and also the Ranger class because those are the gun classes.
All right, let's make the bet. What is the most played and least played for North America, in your opinion? Going off your experience, what do you think?
The most played, I think, from the 9 classes, right? I think it will edge out as Braver. I think people are going to embrace the katana. They're going to embrace the 1,000 times folded Nippon Steel meme and just be like,
oh yeah, for sure,
I am sword. My body is sword. Or almost anything. Be like, yeah, I got this shining blade. I can cut anything. Yeah.
For sure. Get the Naruto run too.
Yeah. Because katana is also the class that's the fastest in the game in terms of movement, so it's super cool.
Okay, so I would have to make that call too then. By those standards, I would say Braver is probably going to be the most played.
And I think one of, if not the second or third most played, is probably going to be Gunner. Because who doesn't want to hold dual pistols and just fly in the air and just do massive amounts of damage, right? Because Gunner is the burst damage class. Everyone wants to see those 99999 damage in your screen.
Yep.
While holding 2 guns.
Now for least played in North America?
Now this one's gonna be hard.
Tector, 100% Tector. I promise.
Nobody wants to play support.
No one's gonna play support. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be so funny.
Oh yeah. Every time it's oh yeah. Now that I think about it, and all those even MOBA games and everything, everyone's just oh my god, I got auto-filled support. I don't want to play support.
Exactly.
Believe it or not, the other class that I was thinking of that might be the least played is actually fighter.
Why so?
Because fighter is such a high skill class, right? To the point where you have this skill, which is going to be called overload in the North American server, or it's going to be called limit break in the Japanese server, right? Basically, it puts you at 20% health. You're in one-shot territory all the time, and then you really just have to get good at dodging. And then a lot of people, if you're playing fighter, you play limit break, and you just keep dying over and over and over and over and over again.
Okay, that already gives me a content idea. I think fighter has a big skill potential from what you say. You hurt yourself, you get more damage.
Yeah.
That just makes sense. Especially if you're going to get one shot at a end game boss anyway, you might as well do more damage.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that just makes sense to me. So the video would be, a raid with the boys, but I'm playing fighter. And as soon as I go into limit break and lose my health, that's when my voice changes from this to,
Or like the Super Saiyan
guys,
memes.
he's one shot. I'll try to go even further.
I had something similar we did with our team. We did like a 12-man fighter MPA on some bosses, and we literally named the MPA, "We Are Fighting Dreamers."
We did something similar in Destiny. We always do this kind of stuff in Destiny, the fun with friends. There's a gun that makes you invisible, and anytime we go invisible with it, we whisper, but when we're not invisible, we yell.
Oh yeah.
So I can see that being done in PSO.
Oh man, I have flashbacks. I have flashbacks now. We used to do like this invisibility thing on like another game I played with my friends, and we just literally called ourselves the SSDF squad. What does that stand for? The Super Stealth Donger Force.
Of course. What else would it stand for?
And then we ambush people, and they would get so mad. Like, what is going on? Why am I getting ambushed in PvP? Like, nobody ever does strategies like that, and that's just really funny to me. To just sit there and troll people.
I'm super excited to use an entire clan for that kind of just fun shenanigans,
Yeah. You can always just like do anything you want to and just like have fun with people, because at the end of the day, we play video games to have fun. And as long as people are sitting here laughing, enjoying themselves, and just like having a great time, I think that the game does its job really well.
6 summoners, Pokemon trainers versus the raid boss. Like, I'm ready.
Now see, Summoner has also a lot of meme potential because there's this pet called the Maron pet. What the Maron pet does is basically, you are a masochist. You have to use the Maron as a cushion. You get hit by the bosses and the Maron expands. As it expands, it gets really big, and then you throw it as a suicide bomber onto the boss.
Oh, okay.
You literally do like 9 damage with this bullet sponge, and then it dies.
That's sad. Is it like a phoenix? Does it rise from the ashes?
It does come back after a while. But the most optimal strategy is literally what we call the Maron revolver. Basically, you have 6 of your weapon pallets filled with 6 different Marons, and you literally just do the same thing over and over and over again. You literally like bring one Maron, pump it up, and suicide it. Okay, 1 bullet done. Next bullet in the chamber. Do the same thing, suicide it. Okay, next bullet in the chamber.
Yeah, it is Pokemon, is what you're telling me. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, what are the other summoning pets? Like, might as well find that out now.
There's a lot to go through, actually, because there's also, like, how do you explain it? There's basically one pet that's literally Lucario. It looks like Lucario on the rare version, because the shining version, right? So, yeah, there's actually even shining Pokemon. It's literally Pokemon.
There's shiny summoners too. Oh no.
Yes, there's shiny pets too.
I just watched
They're
another
rare
year of
drops.
my life go away. Oh no.
No, gotta collect all the shiny pets.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, see, they don't give advantage to gameplay. They're literally just shinies.
No, I know. I am aware. But
yeah, there's one that's literally Lucario. There's literally a lightning doggo. There's the birds. There's the caster pets. There's there's even a mini dragon that shoots lasers. There's a lot of weird variety of pets which you can definitely enjoy, and I can see them adding some more in the future.
do you think there's potential for, an NA pet pack?
Hey, you never know.
We get like a crocodile or something
Oh
from
my
Florida? An alligator?
I would laugh, honestly. That would actually be really funny. An alligator pet. Oh lord.
Something.
I'm trying to like image how it works. And like, dude, this alligator has like the giant laser beam come out of his mouth or something.
Exactly. You feed it bath salts and it powers up.
Yeah, that's really funny. It's possible. Anything is possible.
I hope the NA memes get embraced by the developers eventually, and they're like, North America needs some love with Summoner, alligator, like, let's go,
alligator. Now, here's the interesting thing, right? When you really think about development, since the game is still Sega's game, right, and then Microsoft is just localizing it and stuff like that. So if they're gonna add like, say, quote unquote NA catered content, then it means that the Japanese devs have to do it, right? And then they send it over and then localize it.
And Japanese also has to deal with it too. They're gonna be like, why did we get an alligator?
Yeah, and they won't understand it, right? It's really funny. Because it would be really, really weird if they do like server exclusive content.
No, they wouldn't do server exclusive. It would just go to Japan first, play out that cycle, and then go to the NA. In my opinion, I think that's the most logical.
Yeah, for sure. I do agree that I think that's the most logical. I just really want to see how it's going to play out because, like, for example, even if it's events-wise, right? For example, imagine if suddenly Japan gets, like, the 4th of July event or something like that. I'll be like... I'll be sitting here like, what? Because believe me, us in Asia, we don't even know what the 4th of July is sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, why is Kuna here today? And then you hear, oh, say, can you see?
Oh my
god. For those who don't know, Kuna is the idol of Phantasy Star, right? She sings concerts for certain events.
Please don't put images in my head.
And we got to see that on the beta. That was so heartwarming.
Yes.
Everybody's like, oh my gosh, encore. Yes. Thank you, PSO, for existing. Please. I waited 8 years for this. And then my brother, this is better than the Super Bowl.
What? That's actually funny. No, but that'd be so funny though. And now you just put that like Kuna image in my head now, singing the freaking American national anthem. I can't unsee it anymore.
Comes out in like red, white, and blues.
Oh no!
Where's that outfit?
Cammy, please don't put images in my head.
The Summoner pack in a year from now, it's a bald eagle.
No, or like even a skin for your existing pet. You have like this dragon pet, anyways. Might as well turn the dragon into a freaking. No, there's even a bird. Just turn a bird to a bald eagle.
Turn the bird into a bald eagle.
Oh no! Oh Lord.
And if you send it flying after something, there's like an after image, you know, the neon cat, like how it has the rainbow behind it. It's an American flag.
Cammy, why do you do this to me? Why do you do this to me? I can't unsee them anymore.
I'm telling you, there's some untapped potential in this NA audience. Like, people need to show up. Like I said earlier in the podcast. PSO3 or whatever, whether it's confirmed, whether it's something that happens in the future. No, play PSO2 now. Good times now. Let's party it up. Let's go meet in the servers.
Yeah. And you know, just whispering to like the PSO devs, if you guys are like listening in, you know, the North American team, like these are a lot of ideas you can definitely note for your notepad. So, you know, just like, you know, just note it down.
They scratch out alligator. Baldy.
That's actually really funny. But yeah, that's definitely a lot of things to be anticipating, and the thing that I think I'm looking forward to the most is just how the community is gonna pan out. Like, I really want to see how this community grows, and just how much NA will really grow as a whole. Since, like you said, a lot of people are blind to this. They come into this like something that it doesn't matter if it existed for 8 years. It's new. If you've never heard about it, and then you've seen this for the first time, it's a new game. It's definitely a new game. So it's like, yeah, you're coming into this now, and then there's already resources. You're coming into a new community, new game, new everything. Like, how will it go from here, right? The future is definitely untapped. And it can just be any way that we want to.
Definitely untapped, but I am pretty strongly thinking it's going to exceed expectations. Just the accessibility alone, you know, you're going to have crossplay, then you're going to have Steam, potentially.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, PSO offers the best experience for that kind of gameplay. So there is a market out there for that don't even realize they like it yet. And so as soon as they see that banner on Steam one of these days, they're going to be, wait, isn't that Dreamcast? Huh. Tries it out. Oh, that is the same thing. Oh, no. What do you mean it's 2 months from now? Where did the time go? Like, that's how I see it going down.
Yeah.
And, also word of mouth, too. Since the, GameCube days way back when you had to learn about Phantasy Star through word of mouth. But nowadays, everything's so integrated in social media and content creation and whatnot.
Yeah.
That I never thought I'd have a voice in a community this large on the Destiny side of things.
For sure.
If they see this is where I am putting the majority of my time and having fun in this side of the community, some of them might just want to try it out. And even if a lot of them don't like it, maybe they gain a new appreciation for the games they do like because they can see that influence firsthand.
Yeah. And like you said, there's some people just don't know about this at all. And then when they try it out, they're like, oh, I never knew I needed this in my life, right?
Yep.
That's something that's just really interesting. I just can't wait for the future, honestly. I just want to see how it goes out. And especially now.
I'm excited about the Switch, too, as a possibility.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, the thing is, like, here, the closed beta that literally just passed was an Xbox exclusive closed beta. Imagine what happens if the open beta had PC access. Or, like, imagine when they started bringing out, like, the PS4 access, the Nintendo Switch access, the everything, like... It will reach such a wide audience, and everyone's just going to see this and be like, what's a Phantasy Star?
What is this, like a spin-off of Final Fantasy? Like, that's the one I always hear.
Because it's spelled with a PH, and then like people are like, is this like a typo? Like, why is a Phantasy Star spelled with a PH? But that's the charm of it, That's what makes it exactly unique. You just remember it for being like that game that spelled fantasy wrong.
Yeah, true. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to... the Switch and the PC. I'll probably be maining PC. If it releases early on Xbox, I'll be there. But the Switch just brings up all those, like, potential, like, you got a vacation with the family or visit them during holidays. You bring the Switch. Get that holiday event in.
Oh, yeah. Now, there's one question that I do want to ask you, Cammy, before we start wrapping everything up. Is that...
Okay.
How do you feel about PSO2 being completely crossplay across all these platforms and everything? And especially the fact that Phil Spencer said that on release of this game, he's going to bring the game to literally every platform available. So it's going to be released on PC, Xbox, PS4, the Switch, the PS Vita, and potentially more in the future.
It's good. And it's good and possible because it's an 8-year-old game. Like, of course you expect an 8-year-old game to be able to play on all the modern systems. If this was a brand new game, think like Cyberpunk or something, it's not realistic to think it's going to run smooth on the PC, but even be possible on the Switch. Whereas PSO2, I absolutely expect that it should be able to be played on the Switch, albeit maybe some lesser graphic settings.
Yeah, but do you think that this is going to be like a trendsetter for things moving forwards?
Yes.
Like, games are just going to start to like look at this and be like, man, if they can like, just quell the consoles wars single-handedly, be like, wow, I guess we don't need to say like, oh, PS4 is superior, or like Xbox is superior anymore. We can just be like, yo, you have an Xbox? Let's play together. No problem.
I never really gave into the console wars, It was where the game's at and which has the best hardware. It wasn't, oh, PS4 is better in every instance, blah, blah, blah. No, it was, I like the Xbox controller, and I mostly play Nintendo games. And then PS4 has just a very, very wide library and easy to find used games and that sort of thing. So I found a need for all three.
That's very interesting because I don't know this stuff. So it's like, Because I would imagine for me as someone who only plays things on the PC, right? For like the other platforms to literally just be, well, platforms. Like I never really thought of it as like, there's something special here that like I feel a little more special playing on this thing because I like this, or like, yo, there's like exclusive games there. I always thought it to be like, why do they need like exclusive games on like, everyone just wants to play games together at the end of the day, right?
They do. And that's what I'm saying. It's going to be such a boon to the community that not only is it free, but it's crossplay. So word of mouth happens. Talk to a friend. Hey, I hear you play video games. What do you play? Phantasy Star Online 2. Oh, what is that? You tell them a little about it. How much does it cost? No, it's free. What's it on?
Everything.
Yeah, I think that just ease of access is going to be the difference maker.
For sure. And especially like, even on the PC, right? This game's graphics can go as low as the minimum requirements of a Core 2 Duo.
I don't know frame of reference for that, but that sounds very, very, very low.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, Core 2 Duo came before like even an i3 core or something like that. So.
Oh no, that's really old.
Yeah, that's really old. I actually can play PSO2 on the lowest graphics on a laptop that is like many ancient years that doesn't even have like an NVIDIA card and run it perfectly fine.
That's exciting because that means people who maybe don't have the strongest PC can still get the PC experience that they want to compare.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that really just plays into your strengths of, you know, the accessibility of the game. Like even today, we had this big patch in PSO2 Japan, right? We had like the 16 gigabyte patch for the PS Vita that just like continues to optimize the graphics for the game to run better and everything like that. Like
one step closer to RTX waifus.
Yeah, like they don't abandon any of their audiences at all, and they make sure that everyone can play on just about any platform they want to at like their own pace and really comfortably. So
now that you mention it, I might have to pick up a Vita because it's even smaller than the Switch.
Yeah, and it's just ease of access, right? And then you can just do it anywhere, anything, and it's just I feel like PSO2 might just become a new beacon in the North American markets for something that's just super accessible and super easy to come by.
Yeah, absolutely. It might hit that same RuneScape appeal where everybody was in elementary school, didn't want to buy a game, and so they played this browser game that was free because it was available and social, and everybody could find something they liked in it.
For sure. And even now, like today, even if you have like, you know, the super crazy RTX computers, you can still do like ray tracing and like all the crazy reshade to make the game's graphics, you know, go even further beyond. So it's kind of like a win-win, in my opinion, where you can just like play it on the very lowest of lows, but then you can also play it beyond high.
Limit break your PC.
Limit break your PC. Yeah, for sure. But anyway, with that said, though, like Cammy, I want to say again, like, thank you so much for taking the time. Like, there was so many like really interesting conversations and insights today as well. I really enjoyed it. I'm definitely really looking forward to your content in the future as well, and just see like how the North American.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say the bald eagle. I was like, me too.
Yeah, no, I do. No, but like I'm just really looking forward to like how the community is gonna shape up, you know, because like me, for example, I'm here trying to be like a very big pillar of the community to really help people guide their way to have a better gaming experience, because I really want people to enjoy the game as much as I do, you know, and I'm pretty sure that's more or less the same for you as well.
I do want to be a pillar eventually. Right now I'm maybe like a small banister, but as I learn more about the game, get more integrated, and show people that like this passion doesn't come from nowhere, eventually I'll have a seat at the table to make sure I always set a good example.
Yeah, because like, believe it or not, throughout like my entire past few weeks, right, I've seen so many comments, people saying like, oh my god, you know, these like content creators coming into like PSO2 NA hype to try to get like milk for views and stuff like that. I'm here like, that doesn't make any sense.
Milk
though.
For views? No, that doesn't make.
Right?
This is a risk for content creators if you jump from one established thing to an unestablished thing. That's how much confidence I have in this series.
Yeah, and like to anyone who ever thinks like that, they really have to understand that PSO2 comes from a place of passion. It really does. Because like, especially for something that's this old and something that's been so anticipated for so long and also even considered dead, like what benefits do content creators even have? It's not Fortnite. It's not, you know, any of the big titles. It's not Cyberpunk. It's not trending. It's just old memories that people want to relive again.
That's the root of it. I don't need an incentive. I don't need a benefit to make Phantasy Star content. I want to make Phantasy Star content because that's what I enjoy. Like, imagine that. What a concept.
Yeah, right? Imagine a world where content creators actually do the things they enjoy because they want to do it.
Yep. I have gotten Destiny down to a science, though. Like, I've grinded so much stuff. I've future-proofed it. I've started looking at the trends of what's getting nerfed, what's getting buffed, what's good and historically. Keep a couple average things just as a wild card just in case, so that whenever I have to deep dive in the Phantasy Star and that eats up 8 hours of my day, I could maybe play an hour of Destiny 2 and still be right on track.
Definitely.
No matter what changes happen in that game, I'm prepared, and so I will still make content for both games, but majority of my time is probably going to be sunk into Phantasy Star because I have 8 years of content to experience.
Yeah. And then that's going to be very interesting for you personally as well, because you're going to have this equilibrium where, oh, I have Destiny content to do, but then now I have Phantasy Star content to do as well, right? So you kind of just like have to like split that a little bit.
It's going to be good, and it's actually going to be better because I only seem to play Destiny 2 PvP and enjoy it when I'm personally like having what I call a good day. My aim feels on point, my decision making feels on point. When I don't feel like that, I just don't play PvP anymore, and it's made my experience so much better. So it's going to be nice to just hop into PSO, and as soon as I start feeling like that vibe, immediately to Destiny 2 PvP, knock out some content, back to Phantasy Star.
Yeah, and that's just very interesting because you can even say like Phantasy Star Online 2 might just be like a cool-off game for you.
Yeah, 100%.
Where you could just like have this chill like arcade night with your friends, or sit back, talk, and just like watch yourself dance in the lobby or something.
Yep.
Oh, endgame. Oh, fashion. Oh, glamour.
Don't even, like, you're lucky we got off topic on the fashion. I would have went on for another 30 minutes.
This would never end. But yeah, Cammy, do you have anything you want to say to all your fans, or like all the OG Phantasy Star fans, or even the existing Phantasy Star Online 2 fans that are watching this right now?
All right, we'll start with the old Phantasy Star fans. It happened. We all were there. We jumped in the time machine. Now we're here. Thank you for your patience. Thanks for not being salty, rude at the developers, any of that. The best way to move this forward is being humble, being grateful, and trust me, that is the way to get what you want in this game, in this community. So any trouble you experience along the way, you want some catered content, that sort of thing, I'm telling you, that's the way to go about it. Don't be mad that you missed out on 8 years. Be happy that you get to have it in the first place. To my fans out there, give this game a shot. It's free. It's going to be low investment to try it out. Especially if you've never tried this kind of game, but even if you have, at least try to make a comparison here. Play Phantasy Star just purely as a history lesson. And if you want to stick around, stick around. If not, that's okay. And if you want to, by proxy, use Phantasy Star to get closer to me and that sort of thing, and just hop in on the holidays to mess around in the lobby, by all means, do so. And I guess since I have the platform, if there's any developers listening, thank you. It was worth the wait.
For sure. And then, of course, like, you know, when you said that just now, there's this one quote by Phil Spencer. He said it on, like, the PSO2 or, like, the Xbox interview, right? Where he literally quoted this. So many constructs in today's online console games were born in Phantasy Star. And 90% of the gamers today don't even know what a Phantasy Star Online is.
Ain't that a shame?
So yeah.
You would be surprised at how many times in Destiny I'm like, is this gonna be like Phantasy Star? And then I'm like, oh no, it's not. I mean, I could see that some of the ideas there, but it's not as fleshed out as Phantasy Star. I'm waiting to, like, you know, see a rare variant of an enemy in Destiny, and then have some specific drop to my ID or something.
That sounds so familiar. I wonder where I heard that system before.
Yeah, I feel like for a lot of games coming out in 2020 past, or the future, I mean, they really need to take another look at the history books and look at Phantasy Star, because it did so many things right. And you were absolutely correct. It's the game that 90% of people don't know, but it really did change everything.
Truly, the pioneer.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Oh, or should I say, Phantasy Star Online 2 is gonna be now the Pioneer 2.
Okay, we have to explain that joke to my Destiny viewers. The main ship that you visit in Phantasy Star Online episode 1 and 2 is called the Pioneer 2.
Yeah.
I think that's about like as good as the intro, so that's the probably good capstone to this podcast.
Definitely. Oh man, I can't believe we actually went there. It's not Azel if it's not cringe. Totally true to my brand. Okay.
I mean, I do the same kind of thing. I just tell them to unsubscribe. Like, I tell them it's okay. Like, I made the mistake. You can unsub. That's cool.
Very cool. Anyway, so once again, everyone, thank you so much for joining our podcast today. It's actually probably one of the most interesting episodes. Again, I know I say this like at the end of every episode, but still, like everyone always brings a very interesting like viewpoint, you know, like especially Cammy here, coming from a very different, you know, background, but yet such a similar background. It's just like really crazy to me.
No, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, low key, I think we're gonna end up just being friends, even if I spend more time on Destiny in the future than Phantasy Star, just because we get it. We can have that conversation about like deep game kind of stuff, and just be like, oh, you know what APM means? Cool.
Yeah, or just have more, you know, wholesome content.
Yeah, wholesome.
But yeah, Cammy, last thing before we leave now, is there anything you want our audiences to type down in the comments? For example, like hashtag Cammy Kex and PSO or something like that.
Type small waifu, big raifu.
Small waifu, big raifu. True to the name. And that's exactly what you are.
Like, that's the best description. That's the best description. Like, so why do you play Phantasy Star?
Like, small waifu, big raifu. Okay. Very cool. Yep. So once again, everyone, thank you so much for coming on to the end. Don't forget to show your support to Cammy by typing it in the comments. Small waifu, big raifu, and take care. Don't forget to smile, everyone, and we will see you sometimes later, hopefully in the open beta of PSO2 coming soon.
Take care. Thanks for having me.